Hey everybody, it's Erin Reed and welcome to the Just Cards blog hop or video hop, I should rather call it. And our theme this week is washi tape, and I'm going to show you guys how to make some washi tape feathers to go on a card. But first, where the kind of the inspiration came from is I was making this bag for Explorer National. It's super cute, great summer tote bag. And if you want to see the video on how to do this, check out the iCard and the link to go find this, or at the end in the video, you can click on a link for the Explorer National videos that I create over on their channel. And when I was done, I had some extra pieces of this fringe that were cut off when I trimmed off the edge. And I'm like, fringe, and I was thinking washi tape, and it just kind of went, haha. So that's where it all came from. I also had a little bit of the other trim left over, and I don't think I'm going to add it, but I'm leaving it off to the side just to kind of have it. But I do have this, and I have a ton more of the fringe if I need more. And I don't know how exactly I'm going to use it yet, but we'll see how it manifests. But first, let's get into how to make the fun feathers. And also, don't forget to go down below. The links for all the other people that are in the video hop are down below, and you can click on them and see some of their other amazing cards using various types of washi tape. And also all the links for the supplies I am using are going to be down below, so that way you can check that out too. And I also have an Instagram, a Pinterest, a blog, a Facebook, all that kind of fun stuff. And I also host card swaps. So if you're interested in any of that, just leave a comment, or you can see the links down below. But if you're interested in the card swap, leave a comment down below, and it's really kind of fun. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit, and this is a beautiful copper. It's for jewelry, but I have a ton of it, as you can tell. That's a big giant mess. And I am going to unravel it, if I can find the bloody end. I just had it. Right there it is. And I'm going to get 3 sections as straight as I possibly can. The straighter they are, the easier it is to make your feather. And I am using a little bit of some wire cutters because I don't want to damage my scissors. And I am just pulling them out one at a time, just like that. There we go. And I'm making this nice and straight as possible. And I picked out 3 washi tapes that kind of went well together in terms of the colors. It's okay if you've got some that have words or designs, but the beautiful thing about these feathers is you can make them whenever you want. You do want a little bit of a thicker washi tape. You don't want to go with the super skinny ones because it's hard to cut them. So these all come from Adorn It, and again, the links are down below for where you can find them. And how many of you have so much washi tape that you do not know what to do with it? Or you love the design, but you've used it on so many things, or you bought it because you used it for one particular project, or it came in a kit, and then you're kind of going, well, what else do I do with it? If you're anything like me, I've got scads of washi tape. So all I'm doing is I'm layering my washi tape along the edge, and that didn't even stick. Let's try that again. Layering the washi tape along the edge of the, there it is, see, there's the I can't talk today. The wire is in the middle, and then you're going to fold it over. And do your best to try and keep the wire in the middle. It does make the feather a heck of a lot easier in my little trial attempts that I was doing before the video started. I had some where they went all over the place. I was like, oh, that would look cool. Nah, it made it more difficult. All right, so go through. If, the wire like this one pokes at the top, don't worry about it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off right to there. And I'm actually going to go back and then just restick this. You're never going to know that I did that. See? Just like that. Now, if you want a wider ribbon or a wider feather, which we're going to do for this one, you could leave your feather that width, but I want one wide feather. I can't talk today. I'm going to double up my washi tape on either side. So I'm going to take the same amount of washi tape, and this is for the double feather. I'm going to show you how to do a single feather here shortly. And all you're going to do is you're going to lay this down on one side right here and go to the edge right along there, and then fold that in half. Just like, I need to get it closer to the top. It's not as lined up. So kind of in the middle of the washi tape is where you line up, right along here, and it's just giving you more width on your feather. That's all. And whatever designs you want to pick, go for it. See, now look, see how much thicker I've got now? And I can kind of fold this in on itself. And I'm going to do one more on the other side. This is going to be like a doubly thick one. So if you want a super, super wide feather, just keep on adding layers of washi tape. I mean, shoot, you have enough of it, right? At least I do. I got scads of the stuff. So now I'm going to come in on the other side, kind of go about halfway, and think about the shape of a feather. Feathers come up to a point, and then they get wider in the middle, and then they kind of taper back down. And we're going to form this here in a minute. So it doesn't matter if this shape is not perfect. We're just giving this kind of the base of where to go to. So could you use other materials besides washi tape for this particular project? Sure, but I sure as heck think that I've got enough washi tape and it sticks on itself. I don't have to worry about adhesive because it's already sticky. You could use tape, like duct tape, but to me that's like overly sticky, and then I wouldn't be able to manipulate and to pick up and be like, oh, well, I didn't like that. I mean, this is so much easier to work with, which is why I'm using it. Okay, so for this part right here, now I'm going to form it into my feather shape. So I'm just going to come in and kind of guide it into the shape of my feather right here. See how I just kind of guided it right there? And I'm going to come in and do the same thing over here. Just trimming it up, making it look like it's the bottom of a feather. Now I'm going to come up here and do the same thing. I'm going to find, here's my wire is coming through, so like the spoke of it. And I'm just going to trim it down just like that. Super simple. Come in here, trim it down. And you can already kind of see the beginning. This could also be for a leaf. You want to make giant leaves if you've got green, but we're going to turn this into a feather. So now all I'm going to do, start from the top, find where my center is, and just start fringing it out. You see how difficult I am making this here. Fringe, fringe, fringe. I do like using a pair of hinge scissors for this because there's lots of fine cutting and I don't want to tire my hand out. So as I release, it springs out for me. I do this if I'm doing lots of what I call fussy cutting. These scissors are fantastic. And just go all the way to the end. If you feel like your washi tape is kind of pulling up, then refringe it, flip it over. I'm a right-hander, so I will always cut on my right side. So don't try and force it and come on the left. Go with what's comfortable. Go on this side, fringe, fringe. I can feel the wire. I'm next to the wire, so I got to move over a little bit. Don't cut through your wire. You're going to cut your feather in half. And any washi tape would be great for this. I mean, like I said, this one has words. I went with the color scheme on these because I was going for the golds, the blacks, and that's why I was also using like this copper, this metallic, because I wanted it to go with the yellow. You could go with bright colors. You could do all like vintage kind of washi tapes. There's so many fun things you can do. And then you just kind of come in here and you rough it all up, get it to kind of look like it's got some action happening. And there is your feather. So cool, right? Now I'm going to get obviously some close-up pictures so you guys see this more up close, but that's the gist of a feather. So that's a wide feather. Let's do a narrow one. Let's do the narrow one in the hello. And this gold. Actually, you know what? I might do an in-between. I'm going to do the narrow in this one right here. I keep changing my mind. I know. I'm sorry. All right. So again, any washi tape will work. I like kind of finding the middle of my washi tape, and that's what I lay down, and that's what I put just like that. And make sure that my wire is right straight in the middle. Just like that. Look how easy that is. Ta-da. Once you have that, you just fold it over. Again, we're going to make this a narrow one, right? Fold it over, just like that. And again, oh, look at that. My wire decided to go off to the side there, and that's going to make my feather. That's the beauty of the washi tape. It's easy to fix. Go right down the center of this. Here we go. Once you kind of sandwich it with the washi tape, it doesn't move, which is nice. But I hadn't sandwiched it yet. This is why I like the washi tape. Make it easy on myself. Right down the center. And again, I misjudged where the center is, so I'm just going to trim off a tiny little piece off the bottom here and readjust it to right there. Super simple. From here, all you're going to do is, again, you kind of form the peak of your feather. So just kind of round it up. Just kind of make it that top point. I didn't do a very good job on the other side, so I'm going to clean that up a little bit. Really give it your points. This is a narrow feather, so I really want to give it a nice good point here. There it is. And then come down here at the bottom and do the same thing. Round it at the bottom. Taper it like the bottom of a feather. Then you just start cutting and fringing. Just come in and cut away. Super simple. cut all the way. You can kind of see, for this one I at least can see, I can see where the wire is in there, so that's where I'm cutting it to. You can make your fringe pieces really wide. You can make them super narrow. Well, you can't see where I left off. There we go. It is up to you, meaning like if you want to cut and make it a really wide feather piece, or you want to make it super skinny fringe, just be careful not to make it so small and so tiny that they might break off, because it is washi tape, and washi tape is easily tearable on purpose, which is great, but you don't want to make it to the point where your feather's falling apart. Come over to the other side, trim on down, trim, trim, trim. So fun, so easy. These hinge scissors make life super easy. And you don't have to be exact with this. If some sections are a little wider and some sections are a little narrower, that's the way feathers are in nature. I love doing crafts that mimic nature because there's no wrong way to do it. You know, like flowers, feathers, there's going to be wide and narrow spots. Look how cool that is. Look how fun. I love it. And it makes it easier to make than trying to be perfect. It's too hard to be perfect. So now I've made a skinny ribbon, a super fat ribbon. Let's make an in-between ribbon with this last color that I have here. So this is a really pretty gold, and I want it to kind of pop out. Since I've got two very black colored ones, black and white more, we're going to make this one pop. So I've got, where's my last little, aha, things disappear on my desk, I swear. So tear off my first section. This is what we're going to change to make this doubly wide. So when you put all the other ones, I said go in the middle, right? But we're going to make this double wide. This was a triple and this is a single. I feel like I'm talking about trailers. We have a double wide feather. All right, I'm going to go closer to an edge here, right as close to the edge as I possibly can get, right along that edge here. And then that's where I'm going to fold it over. Pick an edge. It doesn't matter. You can pick the right, you can pick the left. It does not make a difference. Even if you're like my wire wants to just stick out on that end, that's fine. Pick a side and follow it down. It'll work. Oh, except for the fact I need to make this still come into, actually I don't think it's going to matter that much. I think that'll be fine. Now I'm going to take my washi tape again, and this time I'm going to start at the end. I don't want it to pull out. And I'm going to start right where I left, and I'm going to follow that same line. If you notice, I'm adding on to where the wire is closest in the middle here. Okay, flip it upside down, flip it over, and this is why it doesn't matter that the washi tape was kind of coming out in the middle. It was at the top here, it's kind of poking out right here, and the bottom it's poking down the middle, because we're covering it up right now. That is our new middle. And then just finish it out just like that. Okay, now I can tear this little piece off right here, and since I had a little bit of sticky left at the bottom, I'm just going to cover that up, try and get my little wire to stand right here in the middle, and there it is. And then do the same thing. You're going to cut this down to be a point, find your top of your feather. This feather seems to want to kind of curve a little bit, which is fine. Feathers do that in nature, so let's go with that. There we go. So it's got a little bit kind of a curve actioning happening here. Let's go with that curve. Let's make our feather kind of cool. There. So just kind of give it that little bit of a curve, and then come in here and do this. Oops, don't catch your wire like I just did. Come in. You can shape your feathers as much or as little as you want. You want to come in and really come in and shape them up. Go for it. So let's see, look, this one's got more of a pointy curve, and it's longer than my other ones. That's kind of fun. The length of your feather and the width of your feather, see how much longer that is all dependent on how much washi tape, the length of it, the width of it, the whole thing. I'm going to fringe this up, and then I'm going to pull out the supplies that we're going to use to create our card with these fun things. Okay, so now I have my card, and what I've done with my feathers is I've just taken the wire that's on them and then just kind of wound it around and just wound them up. And when I did that, the wires inside here kind of leafed out and the feathers kind of turned and stuff. And I like the look of that. So I don't want them to be too much because they're going to sit on the card, but I'm not making this a flat card. This card's going to have some dimension, so I can always tweak and fiddle. I also pulled out some other embellishments. I got my fringe out. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to set this. So I found this stuff. I've had this for ages and I've never used it. I think it's a Finnabar, an old, I don't even know for sure whose this is from, but it's this piece right here and I was kind of playing around with it and basically you can color it. So this is the right amount that I need and that's what I'm going to be continuing to fill in. And as you can see, here's more. Right, and it's a resist. So it's a canvas on top and everywhere where it's a little bit of white, let me see if you guys can see that. See the white in there? It's going to resist it. So you can see it really well right here. There's little white dots. So we're going to continue with that concept. So since I have my little handy dandy craft mat down here, I'm just going to take a little bit of my ink and I'm just coming in, and I don't need it to be all full solid color. I'm just kind of tapping and getting color on there, right? And then I'm going to take my water and then just spray it. And it's like it comes to life. It's really easy. It's chalk ink, so it works great. And just look at that. Isn't that awesome? So cool. I just think that's fun. And it still has that texture of the canvas. And then we've got a card that's got canvas stitched on it. So it's really kind of cool. I love it. And I've had this stuff for ages and I just have never used it. All right, the beauty of this thing is I can flip it over. Set this off to the side to dry for a minute while I prep the next part. So I went in my stash of flowers and I found this really cool flower, but I don't like this button in the middle. So I'm just really tearing it off. But I love this button. I think it really works well with the colors, but I got to get rid of that all on the back. So since I have all of this stuff out, I'm just going to snip that little guy off the back side there. And I am just going to kind of wind this into a little bit of a center here, because what we're going to do is we're going to take our feathers. Now I want the large feather to be on the, just to show you, it's going to be on like this side of the card. So I'm going to lay my feathers down, and for this I'm going to use my super tight all-purpose universal glue. This glue is fantastic. It's got a great hold. It dries fairly quick, which is what I love about it, and it's just great in all-purpose crafting. It's less toxic than some of the other glues that are out there, which is fantastic. It's got a great hold, and there is a coupon code down below in the information section where you can find all the materials. So you can get yourself a bottle of this and you get 10% off, and it's cheaper than most of the other glues. So I mean, like, this glue is almost half the price of some of the other glues that are out there, which to me rocks. So if you notice, I just wound this down. I'm having the feathers come out. This flower's got 4 lobes on the back, if you're noticing the big canvas, and so I just kind of stuck it in the middle. I didn't really want it to have it look like it was a 4-leaf clover, so that's where I'm kind of going with this right here. Just kind of pushing this down so it sticks, because I don't want it to stick up too much. And there's that. Actually, I'm going to flip this paper over one more time because there's one more thing I'm going to get a little dirty. I found this chipboard piece, love, but I want it to pop a little bit, so we're just going to ink it in black. Make it really simple. And then we're going to set that off to the side as well so it can dry. How easy that is. See how well that pops? And now that will just pop right off of there. But I want it to dry, so I'm just going to set it over there. And now we are going to come to our card. For this, I am going to use my all-purpose super tight adhesive for everything because I need it to, like, this is still canvas on canvas. A tape runner just is not going to cut it. So I know this is not fully dry, and I am fine with that. Is just fine. So that goes there up towards the top, just like that, and resting it down. I did not glue the bottom, and I kind of like the idea that it might fringe up and do its own thing. There's one little section over here that, because it got a little bit overly wet, it's kind of tapering off. But you know what? It adds to the look of the whole thing. I'm taking a little bit of that Expo trim and I am just going to make it look like it's got a little coat. I'm basically turning it into a cape. So I'm giving it a little bit of a inward. I'm going to put my glue right along here and then just kind of folded it on itself. And then I'm going to add some glue right here and lay this down. So it's got this beautiful fringe. It's coming down. I'm going to add a tiny bit more glue. It's going to lift up the fringe right along here because I don't want it to move too much, but I want it to move a little bit. So we're going to go and then kind of let it catch on that glue that I just laid down. So it's still got some movement, but it's not all over the place. Like this little guy is going to drive me crazy. So we're going to add a little more glue right here. If you're wondering about this jar, I made this jar a while ago and it's my glue jar. So if you notice, every time I put my glue back in the jar, it goes upside down and it's still open. So when I'm ready to use it, I don't have to be like, okay, it's got to wait for it to come down. Plus, it doesn't let it dry out as fast, which I think is great. Just a little crafty tip for you. All right, so now it's still dangly, but it's not going crazy. And I'm going to put a nice big blob of glue right here, like that. And I'm going to place my feather down. My flower feather. This is not a flat card, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I like those kinds of cards. I'll do both. Sometimes I go with super flatty cards, and sometimes I go with really dimensional cards. This is your dimensional card. Now, you could have put this in the middle and no sentiment, but I'm in a sentiment kind of mood. I'm just going to make sure this is dry, so I'm just going to tap this on here. There we go. I'm going to call it dry enough. Add little bits of glue, just hitting some of the highlights on here. Here we go. You know, sometimes, I mean, I'm all about stamping. I think that stamping has its thing, but I love cards where I can just add elements, create little embellishments, and then it just comes together. It's fun, and that's it. Look how cool that is. I love the striking colors of all the blacks and the whites and the neutrals, and then that pop of yellow from the fringe is like, ooh, that's kind of cool. That's a little different. What is that? And it just makes the whole thing kind of go poof. So what could this card be used for? So many fun things. At this point, I am going to close my glue so it won't have any more problems. Keep it upside down. Why not? But this could be a love card. This could go masculine or feminine. It could go either way. Don't you love my inky fingers? It's pretty bad, right? But you know, it's also just a fun card that you could use forever. If you took the sentiment off and centered this in the middle, then it could be whatever you want it to be kind of card, which is kind of fun. Thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. And if you're interested in joining my card swap, obviously leave a comment so I can get you hooked up to my Facebook group where we host all the swap stuff. And don't forget to check out all the other amazing people that are in this Just Cards blog hop. It is so much fun. Not blog hop, video hop. It's a video hop, right? And make sure you go check them out. All fun ways of using washi tape. And that's what I did here. Links are down below, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye-bye.